Hello, everybody. My gosh, it's been a while, hasn't it? Yes, it has been a long time since I've posted a blog about NASCAR, and it's long overdue. It's just that I don't know, when your driver just isn't performing the best that he could be. It's it's just not fun talking about it. Really, it's the last couple seasons. Actually, the last 3 seasons, if you count most of 2014, have been a pretty rough time to be a Kasey Kahne fan, really. And the thing about it is, it's not really Casey's fault. He's just he's just been in a really bad slump, and we're all just waiting for the point where it all just turns around for him, and I really truly hope that it does, and I think it will. Right now, Hendrick Motorsports just isn't performing the best that they could be, so it's that's part of the problem. Uh, and But what this video is mostly about is what Kasey Kahne recently said. Um, as we all know, recently they announced that Kyle Busch Motorsports driver William Byron has signed on to Hendrick Motorsports and Junior Motorsports for the 2017 Xfinity Series season. And the same thing that happened whenever Chase Elliott was moving up the ranks is happening again. And this time it's not all slammed onto Kasey like it was with Chase, because Kasey's contract was up at that point before they announced that Chase was moving to the 24 car. But still, there's speculation that Jimmy Johnson, which is highly unlikely, will retire, or that Dale Jr., which could be more likely depending on how his treatments for his concussion is going. He hasn't been in the car for, it'll be 7 weeks after Darlington, so we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen with that, but with William Byron coming on, there's a lot of talk that Kasey might be the odd man out, even though his contract expires 1 year after Earnhardt and Johnson's contracts do. And while I think that Junior has a lot, or it's more probable that Byron might be taking Junior's spot than it is Kasey Kahne's. It still kind of concerns me, considering the fact that Kasey acknowledges, and he is really frustrated with how he has performed the last couple years, and he understands. He knows that he needs to perform, and he can't do that right now. At least not until something clicks over there, and it's not going to click by pointing fingers, which is something that Kasey and his team have decided that they are going to avoid doing, and they're choosing to be more positive approaching this. But Kasey Kahne himself also acknowledges the fact that he says, if by 2018, he says if he's not performing, then he needs to go do something else. He needs to move to a different team or something, which is really, really hard to think about. Considering how good of a driver Kasey Kahne truly is. Kasey Kahne is a great driver. He just always, for some reason, ends up with like whenever he joins a team or or the team that he's on always seems to have something going on that is keeping him from performing. And sometimes he does cause his own problems sometimes, but it's not near as much as the things that is going on around him. Like a lot of his problems in recent years has been people wrecking him, but that really hasn't happened a lot this year because he's still getting wrecked this year. Don't get me wrong, but that's not the main problem right now. He just doesn't have the speed to compete at the level that he needs to win races, and that's really the issue with the other Hendrick cars. But pointing fingers at anybody, I know I myself points fingers at Keith Rodden. I still don't think that he's the best person to be the crew chief for Kasey Kahne. I really don't. I love Keith Rodden. You know, like he's a good guy and everything, but I just think that he's a better engineer than he is a crew chief. But Kasey seems to think that he can do the job, so Kasey is the one driving the car. Kasey knows what he needs, so I'm just going to try to drop the Keith Rodden thing because I know it's probably not all his fault. I just wish Kasey could get a crew chief that is more on the same page as he is, but it's a tough deal for everybody at Hendrick right now. They just haven't had the speed that they need to win races. Jimmy Johnson's the only one that has wins. Kasey Kahne hasn't even led a single lap. That alone is kind of a that Kasey really hates that. But a lot of people are saying that Kasey Kahne has lost his drive and that he just doesn't care anymore. Bull crap. That is complete and utter bull crap. Kasey Kahne fights as hard as he can every week. No different than any other driver. I don't give a crap what it looks like. He said back in 2010, anybody who questions my commitment does not know me. And that is the Kasey Kahne that I respect as a person and as a driver. And he's not a quitter. There's been times where he's been at his breaking point, like back in 2010, whenever the whole thing with Richard Petty Motorsports went down, and he finished the season out with Red Bull. But that was just because he's going to move over there the next year anyway. But that is, you know, even guys like Kasey Kahne has their limits. They can't just put up with people not wanting to do their job like Richard Petty Motorsports was doing to him whenever they had the poor management that they had. But Kasey Kahne is not a quitter. He is not a second-rate driver. He is the same driver that he was whenever he was in 2004, challenging for race wins. And the same driver that he was in 2006 when he won 6 career wins. He's the same driver that he was in 2012. Whenever he finished 4th in the points. And in 2013, where in the early season he was challenging for the points lead. Kasey Kahne is a great driver. And he will eventually get it turned around. So any fellow members of the Kahne train, as it's been called, don't give up hope. Kasey Kahne will come back. And that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Hopefully, this weekend at Michigan, things will start to turn around. Thanks for listening, and God bless.